It's time to roll the backing fabric up onto this bar here, your backing bar. But what I like to do is actually roll it up first onto the take-up bar. Especially helpful if you have a big long top. This one, our quilt has a long height to it. I have the wonderful Innova feature here of power feed, so I'm rolling up the quilt top and straightening things out. My leaders I want to be nice and straight. I've adjusted the tension on the backing so that it can only be tightened up here at the top. It can't be loosened. It's very important that you have your easy locks engaged when you are ready to sew. And we're ready to sew now. My batting is cut to be at least 3 inches bigger than my quilt top on all 4 sides. And I found my center of my batting. And I'm laying my batting up to the top of the backing. And I'm putting the rest of the batting down in this opening. And this is what people refer to as floating your batting. It's not pinned to anything right now. It's simply laying here. Before we baste on the batting, I'm going to put my tension clamps on the right side and the left side and tighten that up so it has a little bit of tension on it. You don't want it overly tight because you don't want any of the fabric or the top to get distorted. We recommend that you just use the clamp on the bottom because you can distort your batting or your top if you put the clamp on that. I just want it a little tighter than that. This should help me prevent tucks or any puckers in the back, but I also think you want to make sure that you visually inspect the back before you start sewing, just so that you are double sure that it's nice and flat. We're going to baste on the batting using our channel locks. You can use the channel locks that come with the Innova machine at the back, or you can also use this little trick where you just roll the quilt so that if you move the machine along the back of this take-up bar, or the front of it, you're going to get a nice, perfectly straight line. I'm in the basting mode. I've pressed the stitches per inch, and 3 or 2 works also, and then hit enter. I have an autopilot here that has a built-in channel lock, and I'll go ahead and use it by pressing that I want the vertical locked. My pickup button helps me bring up my thread from the bobbin, and I'm going to floss underneath there and grab my bobbin thread. Lightning stitch is so great. You can do this in just a matter of seconds. We're bringing the quilt top up and lining it up with this very nice straight line that we have produced with our line of basting. And then we need a few pins to hold it in place, because as we're stitching we don't want it to move at all. I put the pins in about 2 inches down from the top so I don't have to worry about hitting them. And then I straighten this out. And put in a couple more pins. At this point, we don't need to use our channel lock anymore, but we will baste across the top again, once again. This time, we want to be about 1/4 inch down from the very top. The reason we want to be just a little bit away from the top is because these stitches will be hidden in the binding eventually. And it's also good that if for some reason you need to take them out or they're showing after the binding is put on, it's very easy to remove them. Once I get to the right edge, I remove these pins and adjust the tension on the quilt top a little bit by smoothing this out. Because once I adjust this tension, that'll be the tension I will be quilting at. And since I'm over here, I just have to hit the go green button again and come down. And the machine moves in a wonderfully vertical path that I can actually monitor to make sure my quilt is straight on the right side just by moving the machine forward. Now we'll baste down the other side. And we're ready to start quilting. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I want you to know that it's very easy to load a quilt on the Innova quilting system.